Commissioner Miller, welcome back to the program here. I want to start off with this fracking water here. Do Texas farmers really want to use fracking water on their crops?
Well, we need water. We really care what the source is, as long as it's good, clean water that we can grow crops with. So fracking water would be fine.
Now, I was going to say that the water would be treated to reduce the chemicals and heavy metals in it, but would you eat fruits and vegetables that have been sprayed with this?
There is a reasonable way. It doesn't need to be treated. It needs to be cleaned up, in my opinion. We don't just need to treat it. We need to take the harmful heavy metals, other things out of it, and make it good, clean, pure water. Anything short of that, it's probably not going to work. But there is a way to do that, and there is a way to test that and regulate it. And the TCEQ would have oversight over that. And as long as this water meets those regulations, those strict guidelines, I don't have a problem with it. We need the water, whatever source we can get it from. I would suggest probably a better use of it would be fracking. Let this all industry reuse it themselves. They use millions and millions of gallons in fracking, and we certainly don't need the deep injection wells. Those are proven to cause earthquakes. So we need to do something different with it. So I'm excited that we are looking at other avenues other than deep injection wells.
How close are we to actually cleaning it and making it usable for farmers?
Well, I think we're pretty close. I don't know that we're all the way there yet, but with the technology and AI and everything that we've got available to us now, we're in the technology age, so it's certainly doable, and it's probably doable pretty quick, I would think.
And there are four treatment companies that have applied for permits from TCEQ to discharge or dispose of the water here. Do you know where any of those companies are located? Is it all West Texas, South Texas?
I really don't know. I haven't studied those companies. I couldn't tell you.
Okay. Well, what are Texas farmers saying about this fracking water? Have you heard from any personally yet?
Well, it's not big on the list. It's not at the top of the list. At the top of the list now is the water tree with Mexico, which we've been dealing with for quite some time. Look like we're working out our differences on that. Things like stormwater drainage, capturing that, using that water, building off-channel storage and how rainfall events, like for our rice farmers down in the Katy Prairie. They're more focused on that stuff. This is not at the top of the list right now. However, I will say that it's a possibility. There's not just agriculture use, but many other uses for this water, especially like I said in the fracking industry. Looks like to me would be the ultimate use of this water, just basically recycling.
Yeah, it would make sense in fracking since you may not have to clean it as much as you would for crops.
Well, sure, it wouldn't have to be drinking water quality. And I tell you what, the bright spot in the water right now is the oil and gas industry. They are taking brackish water and running it through a desal. Like I said, clean it up good enough to frack. About 30% of their fracking now is brackish water. They're getting away from fresh water. So thank goodness. We applaud them for that.
Yeah, really. The House approved this House Bill 49 for fracking water. The Senate is still sitting on it right now. Do you expect this is going to pass?
I think it still has legs from what I'm hearing. I think it could pass. We'll see. We'll know. By June 2nd, the end of the month, we should have clarity on that.
Let's see, a couple more quick questions here for you too. Oh, this House Bill 49, it would absolve oil and gas companies from any liability, even property owners, even those companies that actually clean up the water. If things went south and this was, found to have caused harm to people, shouldn't someone be held liable?
Well, it's the standards that it's judged by. Obviously, there's going to have to be very rigorous, strict guidelines, implemented and oversight from the TCEQ. As long as those companies meet all the guidelines that we set out before them, and those guidelines are accurate and adequate, I don't see a problem with it. I think those companies should have some liability protection if they're doing business in the correct way.
Commissioner, the legislature passed an all-out ban on THC. How is this going to affect Texas farmers?
It's not going to affect Texas farmers one way at all. I mean, we just don't farm that many acres of THC hemp. The landscape is changing. We're expanding our hemp production, but we're going to industrial hemp, fiber hemp, getting away from the THC, the oils and things like that. We've overproduced that. There's no money to be made in that. The money to be made now is in the fiber hemp, to produce building products,
Yeah.
cloth, manufactured goods, things like that.
And rope, yeah, I got you. Okay. Let's talk forever chemicals for a moment here. It's found in treated sewage, and some of that treated sewage ends up as fertilizer on farmers' crops, and it's creating a lot of problems, as you and I have talked about in the past here. An effort to regulate this died in the House. Why do you think that is?
Well, there's a lot of companies that have interest in this. The big cities, they need to get rid of that sludge. The people that buy it and distribute it, they're pretty heavy hitters. The problem is we need to address it at the source. We still need that compost from those cities, the sewage sludge. It's good fertilizer. It really is. We just need to get the PFAS and the heavy metals out of it before it's distributed on our land. That's where the key is to making this work. We don't want to ban distribution of biosolids on agricultural lands. It's good as long as it's pure and it's clean and we get the PFAS out of it. So we've got to come up with a way to make sure the PFAS is all removed before it's land applied.
But without action from the legislature, that's not going to be required for at least the next 2 years, right?
You're absolutely correct. I'm very disappointed that we didn't make any headway on that. Now, in counter to that, there may be some federal legislation. Bobby Kennedy is on top of this issue. PFAS is on the top of his list. So we'll see where we go from there. Maybe we get a blanket nationwide directive on it, hopefully.
Governor
Which would
Greg
be
Abbott,
better.
yeah, no, that would be better than having to, yeah, no doubt. Governor Greg Abbott declared a water emergency at the beginning of the legislative session here, and we've been watching this, and you and I have talked about the water emergency this state faces, but we really haven't seen much action. Is there anything the legislature is going to pass this year, this session, that's going to impact this?
Well, as you know, I've been talking about water for 5 to 10 years, saying we're out of the legislature finally acknowledged that we have a water problem. So there are some good water bills working through. Senator Perry's got some good ones. The House had some good ideas. I expect those to become law. We need to first thing we need to do is attack our infrastructure that's old and dilapidated. We lose 30% of our water, so that's the easiest fix. And then there's other things that we can also do, and we've talked about that. But I'm very optimistic that this will be a water session, that we will get some things across the finish line.
You think at the end of the day, with 10, 12 days left here, we're actually going to get something across the finish line?
I am very confident. I'm very optimistic. We'll see. Of course, the wheels can come off, and everything can die. I've seen that happen
Yeah.
too. But today, I'm very optimistic that we'll get some positive water legislation across the finish line.
Commissioner, good to see you again.
Thank you, Jason. God bless.